Okay, so here we are. We're at the base or the end of the logging road, and the tree's straight up here. So, yeah, now we go by backside the rest of the way. So here we are. I'm with Miranda Gibson up in. Well, I'm not going to tell you where we are. I'm going to let you do that. But with the Solution Revolution, and this time this is kind of quite a wild story. Probably more revolutionary than some of the stories we've covered so far. But yeah, I was going to say welcome, Miranda, but no, but you should be welcoming
welcome,
me. So,
can
you tell us a little bit about where we are?
So at the moment we're right at the top of a tree. It's probably about 60 meters up from the ground, and we're in the middle of the forest, the Diana Valley, which is west of Hobart in Tasmania. Yeah, and so we're on a platform that's called the ObserverTree, and it's where I've been living for the past 4 months. Yeah.
4 months?
Yeah. 137 days.
37 days. Yeah, I told you it was pretty wild. So I tell you, I first found out about you from Bob's the oration speech a few weeks back or a month or so back. Yeah. And again, it was the reaction was holy. I mean, we're still fighting for forests in Tasmania, so that kind of blew me away. But as soon as I heard your story, I figured that I would have to come out and have a chat, because this project of mine, the big thing about it is trying to kind of understand how some people find solutions, or how we find solutions in some of the issues that we face. And I suppose for me, part of it is like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but part of it is that we're looking for a solution here. But the wild thing about your story, I think, is just that you came to a point where you had to take some pretty radical action. And I suppose that's the first question for me. How did you come to that point and make that decision?
Well, I mean, I guess I have been involved in forest activism for quite a while, but I think this kind of action that I'm doing now is quite different to anything I've done before. I mean, purely the fact that I just haven't been to the ground in 4 months, and I just spend pretty much every day up here on my own, and you know, it's quite a unique kind of action. And I guess I kind of came to that point where I'd been seeing these forests get cut down constantly. Like every day these forests get lost in Tasmania, and you know, just witnessed so many forests that I'd spent time in get chopped down. And I mean, this forest here is really amazing, and yeah, I've spent a bit of time over the past few years kind of in this kind of area, and we've done a lot of monitoring of wildlife and that sort of thing out here. So when I found out that this area was going to get logged, and not only the fact that it's going to get logged, but that it was actually meant to be under a conservation agreement at the time, and you know, and then to hear that the machinery coming in and they're starting to do work, well, I just kind of felt like, I mean, as you say, it's just going on forever and ever, and at some point we've got to protect these forests, and I just felt like I needed to get up and do something that I could to do something about it.
And the way I'm not sure if I wrote that in the in that press release, but about making a stand and going, that's enough's enough.
Yeah.
Do you know, another thing what it reminded me of is it's interesting, because I'm kind of travelling all over these days, and because everybody's freaked out about where the world's at, and so people want things to change, but they don't know what they can do themselves, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And I thought that about you, is like everywhere you look in Tasmania, there's they're logging here, this coop's under threat, and now it's like mining in the Tarkine. So how do you like, how do you not get overwhelmed by that? Was it that you just picked this spot and just said, this is where I'm making a stand?
Well, I think you're right, and it is something that is, I guess, the constant struggle is not being overwhelmed, and I mean, you know, I guess you do see so much forest get cut down, and as you say, that's, you know, there's just so many issues like mining and everything, and like once you start thinking about it all, it can get really overwhelming. I guess the thing that kind of keeps me going is the feeling that even though it is really overwhelming, like, I really believe that we can actually make a difference. And I guess the thing is, it cannot feel like, sometimes it doesn't feel like that. You can go for so long like trying to defend an area. Like, I've spent a lot of time in the Upper Florentine Valley, and when they came in and busted the camp there and started logging, I mean, that kind of just felt so overwhelming. Like, we'd spent years trying to defend it, and, you know, now they were in there doing work. But I mean, I guess the thing is, you have to appreciate the achievements that you can kind of do. And I think this, I think that I felt inspired to come up here, but actually being up here is the thing that's inspired me even further, if that makes sense. Like, since I've come up here, I think I felt like, oh, this is going to be a good idea, but really I think I was getting to that point where I was feeling a little bit like it is overwhelming and I don't really know what to do to fix the problem. But being up here, has been this incredible experience where I've realised there actually is a whole world out there of people that support protection of forests, and, you know, I've been able to connect with them, and so many people from all around the world have contacted me since I've been up here, and that's been so inspiring. And, you know, and I think it's kind of shown me that you can do something. Every person can do something that's actually is going to make a difference, and I feel like that's what, you know, I mean, this is just one action, but it has, you know, I feel like it is kind of, you know, the word spreading around the world, and it's inspiring other people to take action, and I guess that's what inspires me to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny when because you think about it. So people hear your story and they get inspired by it, and the wild thing about today is all one person really needs to do is click share on Facebook or something, and then all their friends find out about it. So your action is pretty wild, like we're like 180 feet or whatever, up in or more. How high are we?
Well, it's
60 metres.
It's about 60 metres.
Yeah. And so that's a kind of a wild action, but then other people that are getting inspired by it can take relatively small steps or actions, like send an email to the Prime Minister, click share.
And I guess that's what I kind of encourage people, because I think that's one of the things that I found a little bit tricky about being up here, is this perception that I'm like this, you know, incredible activist that's doing something that, you know, to change the world, and other people can't, you know, that other people can't do. Whereas really, it's, you know, it's the actions collectively of everyone doing a little bit that's actually the thing that's going to make the difference. And I think that my action up here is really, you know, the real beauty in it is that it can be the catalyst for other people, kind of sharing it around, and that's right, like, everyone can do something, whether it's, you know, sharing it on the internet or that sort of thing, and just spreading the word, because really that's how it's going to happen. That's how we're going to be able to change things. The more people that know about what's going on here, then the more likely that we're going to actually get an outcome.
Yeah. And even if you had, I mean, there's you in the tree, but then there's all the people that are supporting you. And if you had more, I mean, if you had busloads of people coming out from Hobart having picnics down at the base here, I mean, that'd be quite cool.
That'd be great.
That'll catch people's attention. No, that's I figured that you were going to say something like that. That's cool. Just about how one person can make a difference, because sometimes we feel really powerless.
Yeah.
Did it take you a long time to kind of come to the point where you were ready to climb up? Was it something that you thought about for a while? And
Yeah, well, it kind of was, actually, and I because I guess it felt like if stepping into the unknown, because I mean, I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if, you know, 2 days later the cops would have got me down, or you know, they would have just kept logging the coop, and by now it would be, you know, I'd be the only tree left in the coop. You know, I guess I didn't or you know, I might be up here for who knows how long. So it was kind of like just packing up my life and going, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a go, and I have no idea what it's actually going to be like or what's going to happen. So it was quite a big decision, and I think I felt like I had to be in the right headspace for it too, because it is like quite mentally challenging in the fact that it's, you know, you're just spending so much time on your own. So I think if you're gonna kind of got to have a clear head, otherwise you might start to feel a bit, you know, like sick of it. Or I mean, it kind of can get, I can get quite frustrated at times just being up here all the time on my own. But yeah, I think I've kind of waited till I was in the right headspace to make the decision to come up.
Not to mention you're super exposed, and we were talking earlier about when the wind comes up and this tree gets moving. It's pretty, there's and that part of it as well.
Yeah, and I do think that kind of does play into it. Like I have noticed lately, the weather's been a lot more hectic and a lot colder, and it does like make it a little bit harder. Like when I first came up here, it was like sunny all the time, and I was like, oh, this is so easy. But yeah, when it's cold, when it's really cold and windy all the time, like it does make it a lot more challenging, and you kind of just have to be like, yep, I'm up here for a reason, dedicated to being up here, and just remind myself of that.
But the thing I think that people should really know, because we had this when we were in the Tarkine, is that you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Right, and you could be out of school teaching, but you've chosen to be up here.
Yeah.
And I think people always, when somebody's an activist, people always, they throw out there, you know, why don't you get a real job, and you know, go and why don't you do something? And there's this call to kind of jump into that culture. But for me, I think it's so important that people make a stand, and that's the thing I find pretty cool about your story, that you've been prepared to put things on hold and go, no, I'm going to go and do this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just such an important issue, and you know, it's just so devastating to see these forests get cut down, and I can't imagine doing anything else really. So I mean, obviously there's other things I want to do, and you know, I hope that these forests get protected so I can actually get down and go back to teaching, because I do really want to be doing that, you know, and that's right. It's, you know, it's not like activists are just doing this because this is the best thing we could come up with and we were bored. Like, you know, there's plenty of other things that, you know, we could be doing with our lives, and you know, I guess it's just a choice to say that this is the most important thing that I could be doing in a world that's, you know, in such a situation where we're cutting down the trees all the time. Then I feel like this is what I need to be doing.
And you're kind of teaching at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the cool part.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you said earlier was about how when you left the ground, you had no idea what was going to happen, that you might be here for a couple of days, you might be 2 days in, and they might log all around you. How do you push past that? Because that stops a lot of people. A lot of people that I talk to, if they don't know what's going to happen and somebody says to them, hey, you know, if you go up that tree sit 2 days later, they might fell around it. And so they start thinking, well, okay, that's true, that could happen. And so they stop. How come you didn't?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess it's kind of just about, you kind of just have to be prepared for anything, I guess. And like, I mean, I guess I ran through in my head, or what are the different scenarios, and you know, whatever happens, or, you know, how would that be for me? But I mean, there's also so many unpredictable factors that you're never really going to know. But I mean, I guess it's like, I mean, it seems like that's a big deal to come up here with so many unknown factors. But I think that's kind of just really a reflection of life anyway. Like, that's kind of what you do every day, is you go into situations where you don't really know exactly what the outcome's going to be or what's going to happen. So I guess you just have to take every day as it comes. And it's kind of, I mean, I think it is interesting because like most like kind of projects you work on, you often know when it's going to finish, or like you kind of have a bit of a sense, or you know, you go away somewhere, you know when you're going to come back, you know. And so I guess being here and not knowing how long it's going to go for, sometimes that does kind of like feel a bit overwhelming. But I feel like I've kind of just started to get used to it, and get used to the fact that I'm going to just, you know, live every day for what it is up here, and and I feel like I've got to the point where living up here is so normal that it doesn't feel like I'm waiting to get down, or I mean I kind of am because I want the forest to be safe, but it doesn't feel like I'm, you know, going, I'm imagining, tomorrow I might get down, or like, trying to think about the future. I'm kind of just leaving it open so that, I'm not putting pressure on what tomorrow's going to look like or what next week's going to look like, because I guess it's hard to know at what point I'll, it's hard to know if, next year I'll be sitting up here still, or if I'll be,
well, we hope not.
out of school doing teaching, I just don't know, and yeah.
But that's kind of what going on any kind of adventures like.
Yeah.
You can't really know. And if you could know, it wouldn't really be an adventure. But it's interesting because, and I mean, when I say that, first I was thinking, you go on some kind of adventure, you go and climb something, but that's life in general. Like, we're kind of locked in, and if we wait to know what might happen, life would be pretty boring, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not up here in a year.
Me too.
I hope what we can see is what's been cleared is it.
Yeah.
And that we can kind of move on to doing things more sustainably and a little bit smarter and saner.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for having us up here.
Thanks for coming.
It's been cool. I've got to give you a hug and say thanks for everything that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks.
It's cool.
It's,
and I hope people can continue to follow you on the blog and the website. Well, cool. Thank you.
Did you ask Miranda how you've changed in the 6 months or 5 months or whatever that you've been up here? Like, you already felt connected to trees in the forest, but have you noticed any changes in the last 5 months? Did you cover that?
No, I didn't. But you just did, so I think that's good.
I think it's really interesting because I feel like I actually have changed a lot, and that's something I don't think I really thought or anticipated about. I think as I've spent so much time in forest, and I've spent lots of time in tree sits, and it's kind of like, I've kind of done this, and a lot of those experiences have been life-changing. Like, spending so much time in the Florentine was, I felt like it did change my life, and I don't think I really expected that, that would be even more life-changing experiences.
Yeah,
and I just came up here, and then, over the last 4 months, it has been totally incredible, and I actually have connected with the forest in such a different way. And I think it's just such a different experience to be sitting up in the tree constantly all the time, to be experiencing the whole, the forests, and the whole experience that the tree is having is the same experience I'm having, whatever the weather is like or whatever's going on. And I think it's just such a unique time to kind of connect with this particular tree in especially, but also just this whole area of forest. And I do think it's changed me already so far, and I think, the longer I'm up here, I don't know what those changes are going to be, but I do feel like it is definitely a life-changing experience.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny that you said you never have known it. Yeah. No, I could see that. It's pretty amazing. It must be so nice when it's so nice and still like this.
Yeah, you picked a good day to come up.